Hello, I hope all of you are doing good. I'm Dr. Namfez with Medline by Dr. Namfez. Today we are going to do a short session on tachycardia, that is rapid or fast pulse rate. The normal pulse rate is usually 70 to 80 beats per minute. But once your pulse rate reaches greater than 100 beats per minute, in some books it is written that the pulse rate of greater than 120 beats per minute is considered tachycardia. But in usual practice, if the patient has pulse rate greater than 100 beats per minute, it is called tachycardia. We go for clinical examination and certain lab tests to diagnose the cause of tachycardia or fast heart rate. We also ordered ECG to look for the pattern of tachycardia, if it is regular or irregular pulse, if it is whether it is sinus tachycardia or there is some palpitations or some cardiac reason. So let's discuss the causes of tachycardia that are non-cardiac related, and then we will discuss about the tachycardia that is due to cardiac issues and in which we can have irregular pulse as well. The most common cause of tachycardia is fever, in which the patient can have warm skin, erythema, sweats. Temperature is usually greater than 38 degrees Celsius. We can order temperature chart, fever pattern, blood, sputum, urine test, and skin swab cultures if required. Usually for the treatment of fever, we give antibiotics according to the situation. If there is severe infection, we also give IV antibiotics or fluids or IV plasma expanders for drop in blood pressure, because if the patient has hypotension in fever, that hypertension can also cause tachycardia, because in that condition your heart perceives it as that body is not receiving the required blood, so heart start pumping fast, and that fast heart rate is tachycardia. And then hemorrhage. If someone has some bleed or blood loss, then heart again start beating very fast. In hemorrhage there is pallor, sweats, drop in blood pressure, poor urine output, and then peripheral perfusion is also decreased. We can see on CBC decreased HP because of the blood loss, low central venous pressure. There are many clinical ways to assess that central venous pressure. First of all, in that situation, we have to control the bleeding source, which is the site from where there is blood loss. We have to control that. We can give IV fluids. If there is a great loss of blood, we can give IV blood. Beside fluid resuscitation, and we have to keep on monitoring the patient until the BP get fine or normalized. Then comes hypoxia. In hypoxia, there is cyanosis, distress. When we check through the pulse oximetry, there is decreased partial pressure of oxygen. In that situation, we have to control the oxygen level in the body. We have to assess for saturation. We have to maintain the saturation. We have to rule out what is the underlying condition that is causing hypoxia. Normally, oxygen saturation from 88 to 92% should be maintained in patients who have COPD or chronic lung issue, and in other normal situation, the oxygen saturation should be maintained from 94 to 96%. That is normal saturation in all other conditions when the person do not have some underlying cardiac or pulmonological condition. So addressing the underlying cause can resolve this hypoxia issue and can normalize the fast heart rate, that is tachycardia. Next comes thyrotoxicosis. We know that there is a thyroid gland, and in some conditions the people develop thyrotoxicosis due to different thyroid issues, in which we have decreased TSH and increased T3 and as well as increased T4. That increased T4 and decreased TSH are indicators with the clinical signs and symptoms of sweating, fine tremor, weight loss, lid lag. Patient can have frequent bowel movements, palpitations, and these all symptoms indicate that patient have thyrotoxicosis. We confirmed it through lab test. That situation we can give for symptomatic management propranolol, Indirol, that is a beta blocker, and for the final treatment we have to give carbimazole or propylthiouracil for treatment of thyrotoxicosis. Then comes anemia. There are a lot of patients who come with a situation that they say, doctor, we have a very fast heartbeat. Suddenly our heart is beating very fast, and first of all we have to rule out if the patient do not have any stress, anxiety or panic symptom. Patient is not taking excessive coffee, tea or any such things that are responsible for increased heart rate. If we are able to rule out all those things, then we look for, if the patient has anemia, we can order CBC. So basically, severe anemia due to any situation, either due to blood loss or iron deficiency or folic acid or vitamin B12 deficiency, can also cause tachycardia. On CBC, we can have decreased HP, and for other findings, we can correlate accordingly that which deficiency is actually causing that anemia. The patient can have pale subconjunctiva and pale nail bed as well as palm. When you compare the patient palm with your palm, you can see that there is definitive pallor on the palms of the patient as compared to your own palm. This is a very one good way to assess the paleness or the anemia clinically. In that situation, we have to, if the HP is below 7, we can ask the patient to receive a pint or 2 pint of blood. Otherwise, we can recommend iron, folic acid, vitamin B12 accordingly. If the patient has bleeding, we have to control the bleeding, and if there is no such situation, we can improve that situation with the supplements for the deficiencies. Or if the patient has some chronic kidney disease or other situation that are responsible for anemia, then we can give erythropoietin or accordingly whatever is required to improve the patient anemia. Next comes the anemia that is associated with cardiac situation, for instance, heart failure. A patient who has left ventricular or right ventricular congestive heart failure, or there is association of ischemic heart disease with the left ventricular, right ventricular heart failure. Otherwise, patient can also have myocarditis, valvular disease or arrhythmias. In all those situations, patient can develop tachycardia. How can we assess clinically? Patient would have breathlessness, there would be displaced apex beat. We can auscultate third heart sound that comes immediately after second heart sound. There are bilateral basal crackles in congestive heart failure. Jugular venous pressure can be raised. There can be swollen legs. On chest X-ray, we can see the fluffy opacifications, especially perihilar opacification. There can be horizontal linear opacities peripherally all over the chest X-ray. There can be bilateral effusions. We can also see large heart size, that is cardiomegaly, on the chest X-rays. On ECG, we can see poor R wave progression. There can be impaired left ventricular function on echocardiogram. We can see that the patient get improves in such situation by sitting up. We have to control oxygen level. Oxygen saturation should be 94 to 96% in that situation. We can give IV diuretics to overcome that fluid overload. Nitrates can be given if a patient has breathlessness, or if the systolic blood pressure is greater than 90, then nitrates are recommended. We also have to treat the patient with thiazide or loop diuretics or AC inhibitors, beta blockers, spironolactone, biventricular pacing if intractable. In selected patient is also recommended. So next comes if the patient has pulmonary embolism or pulmonary infarction within the lung, or from deep veins or left atrium, a patient has developed some embolus or infarction. Patient would present to you with sudden breathlessness, pleural rib. Patient would present to you with sudden breathlessness, pleural rub, cyanosis, hypoxia. There will be tachycardia, loud P2. There would be signs of DVT. The other risk factors can be history of recent surgery, immobility, or a history of previous emboli, or history of malignancy, any sort of tumor, cancer that is responsible or causing increased risk of thrombosis or pulmonary embolism in such situation. CT pulmonary angiogram is recommended in such situation that would show a clot in pulmonary artery. What we have to do, we have to maintain oxygen saturation. We can send ABGs. Low molecular weight heparin is given immediately. After giving heparin, we give warfarin. Thrombolysis is given if blood pressure is dropping or right ventricular is dilating on echocardiogram. Then come certain drugs like amphetamines, beta agonist, as suggested by drug history. We can see if the patient is taking these medicines that can also cause palpitation or tachycardia. We have to normalize the heart rate by stopping that drug. Next comes the cardiac tachyarrhythmias. There are certain cardiac situations that are responsible for causing arrhythmias. There's also supraventricular tachycardia, atrial flutter, atrial fibrillation, then ventricular tachycardia associated with some electrolyte abnormalities. For example, hypokalemia is especially responsible for causing tachycardia. How can we assess the tachyarrhythmias? By ECG. We have to order ECG to assess the pattern of the arrhythmias. Either these are regular, normal, QRS complexes, or otherwise if there is irregular QRS complexes. There can be this can be supraventricular tachycardia or atrial fibrillation. It can be increased potassium or decreased potassium on electrolytes assessment. We have to normalize the heart rate first with the beta blocker for supraventricular tachycardia, or in case if the patient has atrial fibrillation, we can give beta blocker as well. Midodrone is also recommended in certain situations. Correction of any etiology. For instance, if there is imbalance of potassium, we can balance that electrolyte level. In case of increased potassium, we can give calcium gluconate IV, glucose with insulin. We can give calcium resonium. In case of decreased potassium, we can give potassium chloride orally or slowly IV, and reducing the potassium loss, for example, stopping the diuretics. So this is all about tachycardia today. I hope you have learned well. We described all the causes of tachycardia, starting with the fever, then anemia, hemorrhage, hypoxia, thyrotoxicosis, certain heart conditions like heart failure. There are certain drugs like amphetamines, beta agonists, then pulmonary embolism, lung-associated conditions, then cardiac arrhythmias. Thank you so much for hearing me today. I hope you enjoyed this session. Please like, share and subscribe my channel. Allah Hafiz.